Dear Diary, it looks like we're smack dab right in the middle of the next 9/11, just like we were a few years ago when they called it C-19. And it's another psychological eugenics operation underway. Cygenics, if you will. See, because right now, there's still people who, as their blood is clotting up into ragu sauce and they're having a heart attack, they'll say, yeah, but it has nothing to do with what that tinfoil hat truther uncle or cousin of mine was trying to tell me. I'll never admit that they were right, and that person needs to go. On the other side of the C-19 operation, there was nothing left but truthers. Either you could see, holy shit, there is a worldwide orchestrated thing going on. And even though in the moment you weren't able to look at the CDC numbers in the year of 2020, you weren't able to see those numbers until 2021 when they showed you that, yeah, influenza disappeared by 99%, which reveals that everything they were calling C-19 was just all the same cases that used to be called influenza. There's Chuck coming in. So that was a psychological eugenics operation, and it looks like there's another one underway, and I can't say exactly what qualities of character they're filtering out to get rid of, and which ones they're isolating and identifying in order to keep. But in the C-19 operation, it was the Milgram effect and the Ash effect from the Milgram experiment and the Ash experiment. Ash experiment shows how people will abandon their own ability to see for themselves and their own perception and conform to whatever everyone else around the table says. Which line is longer, A? Which line is longer, A, B, or C? And if everyone else around the table tells you B, that's which line is longer out of A, B, and C. And the subject of the study looks around at them and sees that everyone else said that B is longer than C, then the subject of the study will abandon themselves. And this is what James True meant when he said the only way to get through this is firmly seated in your cockpit. But a lot of people abandon themselves, abandon their cockpit, their sensory perception, their ability to think for themselves. All their gauges and dials inside their cockpit are pointing to this, saying that C is longer than B. But they hear everyone else saying B, so they go, yeah, B. The answer's B. Because tribe is more important than truth to them. And that's acceptable, that's understandable. Not too long ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and in some places around the world, still today, you can't live by yourself. If you get ejected from the tribe, you die. And so it's understandable as a matter of survival of the fittest, natural selection. People who followed the truth and prioritized it over the tribe died. So the only people left were people that prioritized their membership within the tribe over the truth. Over the long run, through evolution, that's what happens in a world the likes of which we just came from 100 or 2 years ago, where you couldn't survive by yourself in the wilderness. You had to have tribe. And if you got exiled and excommunicated, you quickly died. So through evolution, the only thing that remains to pass its genetics on through epigenetics are people who prioritize tribe over truth. And we still know this. You and me as truthers, we recognize. You come to a crossroads where you have to sacrifice your membership within the tribe in order to pursue that truth, or sacrifice that truth in order to maintain your membership within the tribe. We have all come to that crossroads as truthers. So that was one of the qualities of character that was filtered out during the C-19 psychological eugenics operation, was the Ash effect from the Ash experiment, where people abandon their own perception and go along with whatever the rest of the tribe says. Then that's what I believe too. And the Milgram effect, where authorities said it was okay to keep pushing the button and electric shocking the guy on the other side of the wall every time he got a wrong answer. The guy in the lab coat with the clipboard told me to keep pushing the button, so I did. And the guy on the other side of the wall kept screaming bloody murder louder and louder every time that he would turn the electricity up more. And then he quit screaming at all, like he was unconscious or dead. But the guy in the lab coat with the clipboard told me to keep pushing the button, so I did. That's the Milgram experiment. And people who conform to group consensus of whatever everyone else says we believe, then yeah, that's what I believe too. Or the Milgram effect, whatever the authorities told you to do, then yeah, that's what I did too, so I rolled up my sleeve because the authorities said it was mandatory. Those two qualities of character got ejected during the last psychological eugenics filtration process. And right now, we seem to be smack dab in the middle of the next filtration process that is going to identify and isolate certain qualities of character and get rid of them in this filtration process to create the Ubermensch, the Superman, by finding the DNA, the mental DNA of your makeup, of the people of the public, and getting them to show their true colors through a stimulus process that causes them to provide a response. And from their response, you will know them by their fruits of what is more important to them. And they will prioritize what is more important to them, tribe or truth. Do you conform to what authorities say, or are you the author of your own authority? And that's what I said at least 100 times on my way to Missouri 9 months before you ever heard of C-19. When I went to Missouri on April 19th, 2019. 8 months later, you started to hear about C-19 and people that weren't the authors of their own authority and just did whatever the authorities told them to are no longer here. On the other side of that filtration process, on the other side of that psychological eugenics screening program, the only thing left are truthers. Either you see it for what it is and go, holy shit, those tinfoil hat fuckers are right about this one. There really is. I don't want to be too loud. We got like women and children playing over here and shit. So I need to tone it down a little bit. On the other side of the C-19 filtration operation, the only thing left were truthers. Either you see it and you have your come to Jesus moment and you transform mentally and become a truther, or you continue insisting no such conspiracy exists. You go roll up your sleeve. Had some shit between my teeth. And a year from now, you're no longer here. So the only thing that remains are truthers. People that converted, people that were already truthers, or people that rolled up their sleeve and are no longer with us. On the other side of that process, there's only truthers left. That's how it's a psychological eugenics program. And right now, we are in the middle of the next screening process. So it's hard to say as it's happening, once I can identify the qualities of character that they're filtering out, that they're identifying and isolating and separating from the others, I'll let you know. But for now, it's best to just say, be on your best behavior. And I will say this, it's kind of like entrapment. When they put an opportunity in front of you and proposition you and say, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to go over here and do this? Yeah, let's go over there and do that. Just like the FBI. They say the only people left in the KKK is FBI agents. Running around saying, hey, you want to go over there and get some of them blacks? Yeah, let's go get them, huh? You want to go get them? Yeah. Or they set up a terrorist and say, hey, you want to go blow this place up over there? Yeah. And they give you the bomb, and when you push the button, they arrest you. Or entrapment, as I originally came to understand it, is like a prostitute, an undercover cop dressing up as a prostitute, propositioning a guy as he walks by, hey baby, $50, I'll give you a quickie around the corner. And if he busts out the money and gives her the money, then he gets arrested. And entrapment was illegal. They said, no, you can't proposition the guy walking by. You have to wait for him to proposition you, then you can arrest him. And for some reason, that's where we drew the line. We said, okay, legally you cannot proposition them, that's entrapment. you can only walk by and allow them to proposition you. But in some cases, certainly we still do entrapment, like the FBI, trying to get terrorists. I gotta pause it. I fucking hate people walking by me. And so entrapment is when they give you an opportunity to engage in a certain kind of behavior, and you take the bait, and you go with it, and you say, yeah, I think I'd like to do that. And James True explains in the Battle of the Kegs in the Revolutionary War, where it's the Americans on one side of the river and the Brits on the other side of the river, King George and George Washington both playing Yankee Doodle Dandy tunes, who rounded up all the people in their colony, in their culture of consciousness, says, hey, you want to go kill some people? Come on, we'll give you a uniform and guns. And they said the same thing on the other side. Yeah, everyone wants to go kill some people. We'll give you a uniform and guns. And they got them all together, and they're on opposite sides of the river, but they're not killing each other yet. So they floated some barrels of gunpowder down the river, and they wait till they get right there between the troops on either side of the river, and they shoot the gunpowder to get it to explode. Then the bullets start flying back and forth between the two groups. That's entrapment. But it's not illegal, and it's not immoral. What if it has to do with kids? Is it illegal and immoral to proposition someone, say, hey, I got a 5-year-old I'll sell you for $100,000? And if they come up with the $100,000, should they not be disappeared and eliminated from our culture? Will our culture not be better off to keep that kind of disease from spreading? And so right now, like I said, we're headed into the Christian Reich. And Chalk Body Outline used that terminology 3 different times. He hasn't made a video for 6 months, but then after the Trump thing, he came on and made a video and used the terminology Christian Reich 3 times, and he acknowledges he believes also that this is heading into a hardcore authoritarianism. So, hey, you want to go cancel culture those libtards that have been cancel culturing you for so long? Hell yeah, let's go do it. Hey, you want to circumvent the Constitution and take their rights and censor them and take their do everything to them they've been doing to you? Hell yeah, let's go do it. And right now, just like Alex Jones got sued for billions of dollars, hey, you want to go sue those libtards for billions of dollars? Anyone who doesn't believe everything they're told without question is a conspiracy theorist. And we're going to take those witches over there and burn them at the stake. What do you say? Let's do that shit to them fucking libtards who say that there's anything, who have any sort of questions, who don't believe everything that we tell them happened in that Trump incident. Anyone who doesn't believe everything they're told without question will be burned at the stake for questioning and saying that maybe there was some theatrics going on there. Yeah, let's get those fuckers. They did it to us, let's go do it to them. And they're taking the bait. And those kind of people need to be eliminated from our culture because they are the groupthink that prevents an individual from thinking for themselves. The people who prioritize tribe over truth prevent real truthers from pursuing the truth and going outside the hassle-free zone and exploring and discovering information that if they bring back into the group, they will get hassled for. That's why David Icke calls it the hassle-free zone. That's the border and the perimeter that defines the tribal territory within the information sphere, within the paradigm, the cosmology, our self-image and worldview. If you go outside that border of the hassle-free zone and start thinking things that are outside what we believe, then you're going to get hassled, possibly ejected and eliminated from the tribe. And a short time ago, that meant you would die. But we're to a time now where individuals can think for themselves. And we live in a society and an environment where you don't need the tribe. And that tribe keeps an individual from pursuing the truth, and instead they sacrifice the truth in order to maintain the tribe. Because they're not willing to sacrifice the tribe in order to pursue the truth. And this persists and exists within every group. Whether it's your family, your tight-knit circle of 5 family members, You and your spouse, the tie that binds, is the vows of the wedding. What we believe here in this wedding and these vows that we both agreed to, or within your church, this larger group of your church and your religion, or the larger group of your country, or an even larger group of all of humanity. You belong to some of these groups. And at some point you will come to a crossroads where if you choose to pursue a certain truth and think certain ideas and ask certain questions, you will be alienated from that group. And that is how the group holds the individual back. Keeps you from exiting Plato's cave. In fact, you're with us or you're with the terrorists. Are you a terrorist sympathizer? They said during the war on terror. They essentially shoot anyone that even starts walking toward the exit door of Plato's cave. If you start saying, hey, you know that guy that says these are just shadows on the wall and there's a whole world out there to explore, and I'm thinking maybe I'm interested in going outside and exploring that world instead of sitting here watching these shadows on the wall. We got one over here. He's just exited the hassle-free zone and revealed himself to be a outside Plato's cave sympathizer. And to make an example out of him to everyone else in the tribe, to make sure no one else gets any smart ideas, we're going to make an example out of him and torture him in front of all of you. Burn him at the stake in front of all of you. Now, right now, it just means going on Twitter and social media networks, hurling pejoratives and insults at the tinfoil hatter, the conspiracy theorist. But soon the rubber's going to hit the road and it's going to get real. And most people are not certain enough. They are not experienced with thinking for themselves. Just like when the rubber hit the road during the C-19 operation. People were not experienced with thinking for yourself. So they had to just go along with whatever the community says or whatever the authorities say, because I haven't spent my whole life thinking for myself. So I can't start now when the rubber hits the road and shit just got real and they're eliminating jobs and even taking people to quarantine COVID camps and shit. When the rubber hits the road and shit gets real, if you haven't spent your whole life thinking for yourself, you're not going to be able to do so when everything's on the line and the stakes are very high. You're going to go along with whatever the authorities say or whatever the community's going to do. So when I say that shit's about to get real and everyone's going to have to make some decisions, like I said on my way to Missouri when I said you better become the author of your own authority real quick. And everyone's going to have to go through this and everyone's getting a chance to show their true colors. I said that 9 months before you heard of C-19. That you better become the author of your own authority. I said that 100 times. And that everyone's going to have to go through this and everyone's getting a chance to show their true colors. Fucking hate doctors, man. For the most part, the spirit in them is adversarial toward the spirit in me, and they don't know why. They receive an impulse out of nowhere, because they don't actually, it's not out of nowhere, they just don't know where it comes from. So, there's going to be another stimulus and a response extracted from you, the people. From an environmental stimulus, a social engineering, if you will, to separate the people, the wheat and the tares. The wheat and the chaff. So you will know them by their fruits. We inject a stimulus into the culture of consciousness, and they demonstrate their true colors through their response to that stimulus. Just like what happened in the C-19 operation. Some conform to peer pressure and do whatever the community and their neighbors and their friends and family and co-workers are doing. And others conform to whatever the authorities say is mandatory. And then there's a third group that doesn't do either. Individuals. individual cells within that petri dish, within that culture of consciousness in that petri dish, stand out glaringly obvious compared to the others who conform to authority and peer pressure. Under this situation, in these circumstances, once we've applied the stimulus and everyone provides a behavioral response, and that's how we separate them. Guess what? We're about to get another stimulus, and through the behavioral response, certain qualities of character will be identified, isolated, and extracted, and everyone else will be thrown out the wood chipper. Okay, I didn't mean wood chipper. I meant lettuce shredder. Okay, FBI's asshole. Like a salty cracker would say. Because in the music video Salisbury Hill, where they're depicting humans as lettuce and showing the holy farmer coming along and harvesting some of the lettuce, and there is a wedding that happens and he presides over the wedding of these human lettuce, and then for a brief couple seconds they show you some of the lettuce getting blown out a lettuce shredder off to the side. And that's what we're going through. This is the holy harvest. The cultivating of consciousness has been done. This is the process of curation, where you separate it. It's a distillation and a refinement process. And the harvest. And the rest gets tilled back into the soil. But part of the harvest process on a consciousness farm means you have to inject these stimuli to extract a response from them in order to reveal their true colors of what's in their heart and mind, in order to extract the qualities of character that are desirable before you get rid of the undesirables. In this psychological eugenics program, that's what they called the undesirables, remember? This dog's hella cute. Hey, buddy! No! So I'm guessing some of the qualities of character that will be found desirable and worthy of salvation, that will be salvaged, are those who think for themselves, those who are oriented with the truth over the tribe. They prioritize the truth over the tribe. They don't conform to peer pressure and groupthink, nor authority figures. Just like the first time, those were the qualities of character that were being isolated, identified, separated, extracted during this refinement and distillation process, where you end up with a purer form of consciousness once you get rid of the impurities. Just like when the blacksmith puts the sword in the fire and then hits it with a hammer and those sparks fly out, those are the impurities, and what you're left with was a greater tensile strength of steel. Hardened steel, tempered steel. Got more dogs. Hopefully they won't start barking. And I can just walk by and bloviate. And that's what's coming some more, is identifying the people that go with this groupthink. And man, they are coming out of the woodwork. Praise Trump. Amen. He's God's chosen. And they engage in a cognitive dissonance and forget about Operation Warp Speed. Yeah, they forget about the first time when he was all, lock her up, we're going to drain the swamp, get rid of the deep state and the globalists, and nothing happened. But he's going to do it for real this time. Yeah, for real this time. And don't even worry about or think about that Operation Warp Speed, how he rolled out that experimental injection concoction that's led to us died suddenly in huge numbers. Yeah, don't worry about all those soccer players dropping dead on the soccer field. Let's just Trump-A-MANIA, let the Trump-A-MANIA rule. So don't get wrapped up and ensnared by the current thing. Like Elon Musk tweeted, I support the current thing. So many people support the current thing that it's a lure. To lure them into a behavior pattern, to demonstrate these qualities of character that lurks within their heart and their mind, and get them to reveal their true colors. And then they're going to have to make some decisions and take some actions that truly reveal, just like people were wearing their report card on their face, and then they rolled up their sleeve and wore their report card in their arm. So it is. People that are like, hail Trump. The guy who 8 years ago, when he even came on the scene, people thought it was ridiculous that he would even apply for the job. He has no business being a politician. He has no experience running a country. What the fuck would he know? That guy's an actor and a charlatan and a... Here we are 8 years later, people are like, he's our savior. He's our only hope. He's going to save this country from destruction. He's our only hope. He is our savior. And like he said out of his own mouth, I am the chosen one. And like that poem that he recites all the time, lady, you knew I was a snake before you let me in. Shut up, he said, silly woman with a grin. You knew I was a snake before you took me in. But so many of these people that are like buying it hook, line, and sinker. And that's what James True said with one of his most recent videos that he made. He said, you know, they don't really lose respect for you until they catch you believing in it. And that's what this is. They're raising children to adulthood. We're coming up on childhood's end. But right now, we're separating out people that have grown in certain ways from the people that haven't grown in those certain ways. People whose consciousness has been developed in certain areas, separating them from people whose consciousness has not been developed in certain areas. So just kick back and do what you've done your whole life. At least that's what I'm going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you haven't been doing this your whole life. Maybe you're new to the game. In that case, I don't know what to tell you. But I've been in pursuit of truth for my whole life. I've been doing the right thing. Doing for others what they can't do for themselves. Being the change I wish to see in the world. Creating the greatest amount of happiness for the most amount of people. These are things that are at the fiber of my being, the content of my character, right at the base foundation of who I am, of my self-image and worldview. And I'm just going to rely on that during this filtration process. Because right now, to jump in the fray and try to steer the consciousness, I've done that for the past 5 years. I see that the people are a lost cause. Though I will say the song by Kygo titled Nothing Left, that's probably a good muse message for the current thing that everyone's supporting by jumping in to the fray, into the arena, into the battlefield of information warfare. The song Nothing Left by Kygo. There'll be nothing left for no one if you don't stop living your life tied to one side with a blind eye. There'll be nothing left for no one. So they're going to set the people to self-destruct, to turn on one another. They already gave you the predictive programming of the movie Civil War and all the other shit. That evil that lurks within the hearts of men, there is no evil, sinister, wicked, satanic, fucking, the Antichrist going to show up on the scene to create hell on earth. The people themselves are going to create the hell on earth. Those qualities of character that are within them are going to be elicited and applied. They're going to lure you into demonstrating and acting out those behaviors and those characteristics that are within you, all of the worst characteristics that are within humanity, and go engage in that type of behavior against those guys over there. Just like the Brits on one side and the Americans on the other. Who wants to dress up and play war and kill some people? Come on over. Go against those guys over there. Oh, you guys want to do it? Yeah, go against those guys over here. What's wrong? Let's get it on, you guys. What the hell? What do we need to... Oh, okay, yeah, let's blow up a can of gunpowder in the river in between the two. That ought to get this party started. If you're all stacked up on beans, bullets, and bandages, and you're ready to take someone else's life to preserve your own, I think it said something in the Bible. He who loves his life so much, he's going to lose it. But he who is willing to sacrifice his life gets to keep it. If you're all stacked up on beans, bullets, and bandages, ready to go Mad Max and shoot anyone that comes for my preps and preserve my life and my family because we're more deserving than whoever else comes along needing this food, then that's the kind of shit we need to get rid of. Because in general, the qualities of character that people have within this culture of consciousness are shit. And they're holding back individuals from growing. They're requiring everyone to adhere to their groupthink and requiring people to stay within Plato's cave. And anyone who steps outside the hassle-free zone gets hassled back in. They don't get burned at the stake right now. It's just online and social media. But as you saw just a few years ago, there comes a time when that rubber hits the road and the consequences are absolutely life and death. Either you roll up your sleeve or we're going to take away your ability to feed yourself. And you're getting fired from your job and you can't fly on a plane and you can't travel and this and that and the other. And they made it very inconvenient, but they didn't force anybody. And I said that while it was happening. I was like, you notice a lot of people are saying, they made me for my job. They didn't make anybody. That would defeat the purpose of the filtration process and the screening process. If they forced anybody. They might have even shown you a video of someone being forced. Just so you thought, oh, well, I better go do it now before they tackle me in the street and plunge it in my shoulder like I just saw on that video. They might have even shown you that to make you choose to do it to yourself. That's what it says in the Bible. They do it to themselves. Just like my dad signed up for the Air Force so he didn't get drafted into the Marines. That would be the idea behind them showing you a video of them tackling someone in the street and plunging it in their shoulder. Well, you better do it willingly and volunteer before you have it done forcefully. I fucking hate the dogs. The barking dogs reflects an animalistic quality of character within the humans that own them. I saw a sticker on someone's car the other day. It's an outline picture of what appears to be a guy holding a barrel of a gun pointed at you, and on the caption it says, "Nothing in this car is worth your life." Indicating to you, I will take your life in order to keep my stuff. I prioritize my stuff over your life, and I will eliminate and take your life in order to preserve my stuff. That's why it says nothing in this car is worth your life. That kind of consciousness needs to go. I can imagine a world where people couldn't even conceive of such a thing. Like, what? People prioritize material stuff over other people's lives? Really? Wow, what a bizarre concept. I wonder what that world is like. I would like to go to a world such as that just to see how the people live. Like, what a bizarre world would that be? There are places where people can't even conceive of such a mindset, of someone prioritizing the value of some stuff over the value of someone else's life. There are those kind of worlds. But we'll never get here, we'll never get there from here without some more of these filtration processes to purify and distill the culture of consciousness and eliminate some of the undesirable characteristics. And God does this out of love. Like I said on my way to Missouri, actually on my way back, you just have to get to the point where you're willing to do it yourself so you're not mad at God when God does it. And I was referring to the music video Sail by awolnation, not the official music video where it shows that he's involved in a UFO abduction, clearly. Not even like semi sort of kind of absolutely directly shows a UFO alien abduction. There's another one by these two girls, and the one that's spraying the hose, a water hose at the other. And the other girl finally has had enough, and she goes and grabs that hose and wraps it around the other girl's neck. And I said, God might need us to help hold one end of that hose, because this is going down. Just like Madonna's music video at the Eurovision Song Contest, Future, where she said they think we're not aware of their crimes. We know, we're just not ready to act yet. And that performance depicts the C-19 and the plasma fire and the masks. And a lot of people have covered that, and that came out a few months before anyone heard of C-19. So I came back from my trip to Missouri with the understanding that God don't really need us to hold one end of that hose while he wraps it around the neck of some people that deserve it. He just needs you to be ready and willing to do it yourself, so you're not mad at God when God does it. You need to come to a place where you can understand that it is out of love that God performs these filtration processes, which leads to the greatest amount of happiness for the most amount of people by getting rid of these undesirable qualities of character. But if you're one of the people who gets eliminated, you're going to think that must be the works of the devil. So the people that are preserved or salvaged or saved need to recognize that this is the work of a loving God who is working on our behalf. You have to get to the point where you're ready and willing to do it yourself, so you're not mad at God when God does it. And the only way to get you to that point is to put you through some processes. Let you see who these people really are, what kind of people you're really surrounded by. When I decided to come back to get some kids to the garden, when I was invited to go with them and see what's backstage on the Truman Show, and I said, no, I got to go back and get some of these kids back to the garden. She said, no, baby, don't worry about it. I got the kids. I got the kids. And I insisted back and forth 4 or 5 times with her. I said, well, that's great that you got those kids. Once she finally says, get out the car, let me show you. Leans forward the seat and shows me a couple kids in the back seat. Says, I got the kids, baby, don't worry about it. I said, that's great that you got those kids, but I got to go get some other kids. She said, all right. I insisted, just like the cop said, I know you're here for a reason, and you've been trying to do things your own way for a while, but this guy's just trying to go to work at 4 a.m. When I made that decision, I didn't know the people that I was surrounded by. I decided to sacrifice myself for them. I would no longer make that decision. I am now no longer going to be mad at God when I see him eliminate them. I now see them for what they are. I was under the impression and the illusion that we were the same. I've been disillusioned. I know we're not the same. We're very different. And the qualities of character that they demonstrate cannot be considered superior in any way. It is inferior in every way. Someone who can't see the plasma fire is most certainly inferior to someone who can. Smart enough to see it and courageous enough to say it, right? Those are 2 qualities of character that I've been filtering the public by, giving them a stimuli of showing them the plasma fire and giving them the opportunity to respond. And they're not courageous enough to say it. And when everything is on the line for all of humanity, anything less than going all in is unacceptable and inexcusable and unforgivable. When that plasma fire that I'm showing you has the potential to take every single life of every single man, woman, and child on the face of the earth, and all of your material possessions go up in smoke, it is only logical and rational and reasonable for you to put everything aside and deal with the issue at hand. Instead, most of you just kept acting like all the other people who can't see it. Their inability to see it is one type of malfunction. The response of people who do see it because I showed them is a different type of malfunction. Plasma fire is a filtration device on the consciousness farm. It is a screening process. it separates you. It is a stimuli which you are administered, and even though you choose not to respond, that was your response. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone can come into the future. Not everyone that's here is going to last. There might be a small handful of people on this channel who receive an offer. The kind of offer that, if shunned, means you might as well be walking on the sun. And if they do, it won't be because you earned it. But for the grace of God, there go you along with the rest of them. Out the lettuce shredder, tilled back into the soil. It'll be through God's mercy and reprieve, like I asked for, the Nineveh reprieve. I was given it, and then I was given a chance to deliver it to everyone else, and they were unable to receive it. They were not receptive. I'm like a modern day Jonah. But unlike the story in the Bible, these people didn't respond. They didn't recognize what it was I was showing them. They continued in their ways, and just like Cue Ball told me when I was there in Independence, we came here to help these people, but they don't want our help. They just want to keep doing what they're doing. So this is the point I'm having to come to, is a place of acceptance. Like the Lord's Prayer says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, I found it works kind of in reverse, and nothing is granted. I summoned the courage to change the things that I could. I earned the wisdom to know the difference after beating my head against that wall 1,010,000 times from 35,000 different angles. I came to have the wisdom to know the difference, that this isn't something I can change. No matter how much truth you provide these people, they're not going to receive it. They don't want it. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, that type of thing. And only after having put in 110% can I have this serenity of acceptance that this is something I can't change. Otherwise, I would have an underlying feeling of, well, maybe if I would have tried a little bit harder, a different way, or a different angle, or a little longer. But at this point, I'll be able to accept with an absolute state of serenity. These people were a lost cause. I didn't know that when I was in Missouri and I said, no, I'm going to go get some of these kids to get them back to the garden. Now I know. So I've earned over the last 5.5 years an existential, an experiential knowing that has put me in a different state of existence. Before, the only thing I could have been given is a conceptual understanding to explain to me that these people aren't what you thought they were. But I insisted, no, I can go give them the truth as long as they receive the truth, and I'm in possession of it, man. Let me go give it to them. Okay. You'll find out they're not going to respond the way you think they are. They're not who you think they are. They're not what you think they are. This is how an angel, maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe I'm not listening. This is how an angel cries. This is how I show my love. Blame it on my own sick pride. Blame it on my ADD, baby. Maybe I should cry for help. Maybe I should kill myself. There's a storm coming, and when the teardrops start to fall, you don't want to be here. That's what I said 5.5 years ago. We're coming to the final hour. Judgment Day is longer than 24 hours. We're in the final hour of that day. Earth School graduation commencement speaker announced 9 months before C19, around April 19th, 2019, that this is it. That I'm going to get my cap and gown on and crossing the stage and graduating Earth School. And at the time, everyone's like, dude, it's not the end of the world. What are you tripping on? Now everyone knows. And I said, yo, you can call it a jail if you want, like a correctional facility. The warden's handing out deferred sentences for good behavior. And you can receive one. A Nineveh reprieve. I tried to get you what I received. I received a gift, and I wanted to relay it and give it to everyone else and make sure everyone else got the same opportunity I did to receive what I did. Trying to dodge my neighbors that are all sitting out on their porches enjoying this evening where the nice weather when it cools off. Because normally I don't do this shit walking down the road. They see me walk up and down this road every night, but I ain't normally making a video talking the way I am now. And soon, I won't be engaging in the current thing as they lure you all into that. I'll be talking about things that are pertinent to my life experience and maybe a small handful of people on this channel. Or I won't be talking about anything at all, and I'll come to that state of acceptance of that which I cannot change. Because I earned that wisdom to know the difference. Because I summoned the courage to change what I could. And I found out, even though God enabled me and gave me all of this super powerful ammunition, plasma fire, microchipped population, sun tunnel that got my channel wiped, airborne aircraft carrier, the little black dot craft that Custodian Files is showing you thousands of now, God gave me a lot of ammunition. And no matter how much truth you hit them with, they will not change. It is a matter of willingness. And if any one of them is actually willing, God will lead them through the same process I was led through. I cannot go wake them up. I cannot go educate them. I cannot go drag them kicking and screaming out of Plato's cave. They insist on staying in Plato's cave. They don't want to come out. Like Q-Ball said, we came here to help these people, but they don't want our help. They fight against anyone who tries to get someone else out of Plato's cave, like it says in the Matrix. The very people that you're here trying to free and get them out of the Matrix are the people that will attack you because they want to stay in the Matrix. They are programmed by the Matrix. They will defend it until their dying breath. Trump-A-MANIA! Oh yeah, well, Operation Warp Speed died suddenly. Influenza dropping to 0.001% in the year 2020. Yeah, forget about that. Trump-A-MANIA! They will fight tooth and nail till their dying breath to defend the system you're trying to reveal to them. They don't want off the plantation. Harriet Tubman, who ran the Underground Railroad, went back to the very slave plantation that she was from to free some of the other slaves. But before she would make any sort of attempt to free them, she would go through a long vetting process to make sure they actually want off the plantation. Most of them didn't. Most of them would turn her in. Massa, Harriet's back. She's trying to help other people get off. Most of these people around us don't want the truth. They loved the lie so much that they were given a strong delusion, and they loved it so much that when you try and help them to see through it, they attack you. Fighting tooth and nail on the way up. Show them the truth, but they think it's just made up. I think we got it all wrong. We just gotta hold on and on and on. 'Cause we're gonna be legends. Gonna get their attention. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary. Gonna get their attention. Gonna teach them all a lesson. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary. This is what we came for, and we couldn't want it anymore. Could never turn back now. Got to leave it all on the floor. Been dreaming of the payoff through the struggles and the trade-offs. Fighting tooth and nail on the way up. Tell them the truth, but they think it's just made up. I substitute the word tell for show. Show them the truth, because as you know, that was one of my taglines. Fuck what you heard, believe what you see. Plasma fire speaks for itself.